Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of working on the rotor. Well, on this video, I'm going to show you how to take and pull those bolts out. Back there on that gearbox. And I'll get the access panel above that gearbox taken out. Problem is though, it's raining outside, so I can't pull the machine out to be able to use my boom truck. So as far as actually dropping the gearbox down out of there, I can't do it until it stops raining. But I can at least show you anyway. I'm getting this belt here off also. That's the drive belt for the rotor. Get that dropped down out of there. And so that should work. Alright, I got my impact. I'm going to see if this 1/2 inch will take them bolts out. If not, we'll have to get the big 1 inch. Kind of a tight squeeze getting down through here. I'm also waiting on a phone call from our Gleaner dealer, so the phone may go off here sometime too. If I can find a spot to put the camera, we'll be good to go. Well, let's see what happens. Those are a 1/2 inch bolt, so a 3/4 socket. Let's see here. Huh, that came out a lot easier than what I thought. I would have guessed they would have been, and that's surprising. I was expecting to see some Loctite in those threads. There's not. Well, when we put it back in, I'll definitely be putting Loctite back into it. I have had other guys tell me that they've had the inside seal here start leaking oil. Well, when that happens, unless you actually get up here and this, let me get you turned around. Unless you get back here and literally look through this part of the cage down through there, you have no idea that it's leaking oil out around that seal. And which means all your oil goes out, and you literally end up blowing your gearbox out. So sure don't want that to happen. But I'm going to take and pull the bottom 4 bolts. Ah, there we go. I'll leave the top 2 in until I'm actually ready to pull the box out. Okay, that's got all except for the top 2 bolts pulled out. There's one down here on the bottom as well. But I'll leave those top 2 in until we're actually ready to pull the thing out. And then also, it'll be another, this part will be another video. I want to take and put a couple new helical bars in as well. But like I said, that's going to be, well, that'll probably be part 4. Jumping up here into the hopper. And let me show you here right quick. That rectangle panel with the bolts going around the outer edge, I'm going to take that thing out, and that should allow access right above the gearbox. And I just talked to my Gleaner dealer, and I've also talked to another farmer that he said he took one out of his R52, and I had pretty much figured the same thing, and they both of them pretty much confirmed it. I'll be using my big boom truck to reach over, run the cable winch down, hook on the gearbox, and then just use it to lower right down out of there. Now that farmer told me that he said he couldn't remember if he had rigged up a come along or what, or maybe even use a loader, but to lower it down. But my Gleaner dealer told me that they use one of the cable cranes on one of their service trucks to do that. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, start pulling these bolts out. Well, they're not very big, pretty short, but kind of odd. Those are a 7/16 bolt head, except for a couple on the top. Looks like they jump to looks like they jump up to a 1/2 inch. Not sure why, but kind of an oddball. Yep, that is a 1/2 inch. So just go around here, take these bolts out, and then we'll take that panel up and off that, and that'll allow access directly over top of the gearbox. I got all the bolts out now. Let's take and see if we can pop this. There we go. Not too bad. It does have kind of a little bit of like a foam seal going around the outside edge, but that's no big deal. Set that down the bottom of the hopper. Okay, now that's getting us into the business side of things. There we go. Let me grab my work light, get it turned on here. There we are. Okay, right there's the gearbox. I wish that thing had a hook on top. It would be a hook hooked into the chain. But yeah, like I say, now with that hole opened up like that, you can come in here over top with anything. Then you just go right down into it to hook onto it in order to lower it down out of here. I'm sitting here looking at this. Sure enough, I never thought until I got noticing. I'm going to have to take and bleed the oil pressure off this shiv. Well, the bottom part anyway. The top part up here is spring loaded, but I'm going to have to let that pressure off. That way this belt comes all the way up here at the top of the shiv and it shrinks together all the way. But yeah, I got to unhook this. Just take that pin out right there, unhook that tube. That's your gear shift. And looks like I should be able to take and wrap a small chain right here around the main drive up through there. And I'll have to see, maybe I can wrap another small chain here around the box itself. Just have to see it works out. And that should have it as far as lowering it down out of there. And oh, I didn't realize, looks like right there's 2 more bolts. Huh. Well, I guess we'll see. But anyway, I'm going to take and get that oil pressure bled back off that. Okay, just got the machine put back here in the shed. I had to take and pull it outside, kick it in gear, that way I could hit the button and bleed the oil pressure off this shiv. And so now, up there on top, the belt is clear out to the outside edge, and here we're shrunk down all the way. Well, it's expanded all the way. And so I'm going to grab a wrench and we'll take this little spinner swivel here off. Then we'll be ready to take this big lock nut off, and it'll let this shiv piece come off, and that'll let me be able to get that belt down out of there. Alright, that just takes a 11/16 inch wrench. There we go. Just unscrew that guy, just set him off the side, out of the way. Yep, got a little bit of oil coming out, but not too much. Okay, now I gotta find the right socket. I don't know, that's a big lock nut on. I'm guessing maybe at least 1.5 inches, maybe bigger, probably bigger. Well, it's definitely a lot bigger than 1.5 inches. I just tried this 2-inch socket and it's still too small. So now I gotta go grab my other socket set that goes on up bigger than that. All right, found the socket, 2 3/8. There we go. Problem is though, to go onto my 1-inch drive, anything above a 2-inch, I've only gotten 3/4 inch drive, so I've got to use this converter from 1 inch down to 3/4. Get that plugged in there. Alrighty, let's see here now. Get the big impact and we'll be ready to roll. Well, that's odd. Huh. Acts like it was Loctited on, don't want to budge. I've had that thing out there before. Well, we'll try it again here. Ah, there we go. Well, it definitely wasn't coming loose by no means, which is a good thing. And you don't want that coming loose because the bearing in behind, the big carrier bearing back there, is what they call a floating bearing. It just sits there. And you got to have it down good and tight, that way it can't slop on the shaft. Let's go ahead and run that on out. Oh, I guess we're already past the nylon part, so I'm just going to spin off by hand. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you got that washer. And as you can see, we got plenty of never seizes in there, which is exactly what you want. If you ever take one of these apart, I've heard of guys having trouble trying to get that off there. It'll get seized up on the spline. And you want to take and always put plenty of never seize in that. Ah, there we go. And that right there is why you want plenty of never seize. Okay. There's the outer face, and that's all you need to take off. Now if you're having trouble with the O-rings inside here wanting to leak oil, then yeah, you gotta take this inner piece. In fact, that actually just slides off the end of that shaft right there. And I've had it all apart before and put all new O-rings into it. But so far don't look too bad. You're always going to have just a little bit of cruddiness stuck on there, but things seem to want to leak a little bit more when it gets cold anyway, because all your metal shrinks with the expanding and contracting of the warm air and cool air, and as your temperature goes up and down. But all right, now we're just ready to pop the belt off down here like that, and then we'll move the top and work up there. With the belt now off, I am going to, not lined up on the spline. I'm going to go ahead and put, there we go, put that back on. That way I can put this nut and big flat washer on, and that way nothing gets lost. So we'll just take and spin that back on there like that, leave it loose, and it'll be all right. Okay, there's that. Now we'll move up the top. Up here on top, it's pretty simple. Just take and pop that belt up and out of that sheave. It's going to be come right around the end right there, and then you just drop it right down out of there. We'll take and toss him down on the ground for right now. Okay, that's got that thing unhooked. Of course, that just sits there and free spins. I'm going to grab an oil can and dump the old gear oil out of this thing. That way it's empty. But yeah, now that I'm up here a little bit closer, there's where you can see where it's been leaking down. And it's coming out of that end seal there on that drive shaft. So another thing I want to do is this belt. Get my light back up there. This is what runs the clean grain and retake elevators. I'm going to take and loosen up this spring and take this belt off. Well, take it off down here, pop it off the idler right here, and just keep it laid back here out of the way. That way it gives a little more room to work with right through here. And we'll see how that works. Okay, I just disconnected, I think you can see right there, this hose. I added that. Come on, get down there. There we go. Back in the fall for a sight gauge. Yeah, going kind of slow. Nothing new. Of course, that old gear oil doesn't exactly want to go too well. But yeah, like I said, I set that up as a sight gauge. That way I can keep an eye on the oil level. And so we'll get that drained out, and then I'll get this belt right here popped off the bottom pulley and back out of the way. And then beyond that, it's pretty much ready to get the boom truck hooked into it and drop down out of there. Okay. Well, the oil finally quit running out, so I think we're good to go there. Now I'll put that tube back on there. And then we'll be ready to get that belt off. Yeah, with it being cold out, the old... And I could see right there, it was down pretty low. But that old 80-90 gear oil don't want to exactly move too easy when it's cold. Get my hose clamp here to slide. There we go. Now stick that back on that barb up there, like that. There we go. All right, that's got that, I think. I guess we'll see. Must just be a little bit of oil left in the tube. Okay, on this spring tensioner, get you a small crescent wrench that we can hold that 4 square shouldered piece in the bottom of the spring. There's take a 3/4 inch wrench. There's a jam nut right there. Loosen that up. I thought it came loose anyway. There we go. Now it's spun. Go ahead and run that down. Well, not much. Just loosen him up. And take an impact. Come up like that. Hang on the spring, that way it can't want to spin on it, it can't turn. Okay, make sure we're going the right way. Okay, that's got him. I don't want that draw bolt to fall out of that square piece, but that's got loosened up. Let me tip you on up here. Okay, now you can see it's got the tensioner here loosened up, and let's see if we can get that belt off. Yeah, I guess we're not loose enough. Like I say, that bolt's wiggling in that spring head. I just don't want it to fall out of there. There we go. That might be enough. Getting closer. I'll hit it again. That thing's just ready to pop off those shoulders. There we go, finally. Okay, we'll just take and pop over top that idler. Leave it hang up on the top one. Just keep it shoved back out of the way. Back peg can actually put on the back side of that idler. Okay. Now that gives more room to work all up here in this area. And like I said earlier, I was chatting with another farmer on Messenger down south of here. And he said that's how he did his R62, and just tied on the gearbox, and then begin to carefully work it down out of there. Once you get on down here, then you can come in here with the forklift and a pallet and roll it right onto the pallet. All right, guys, well, I'm going to call this an end of the video. The next video should be well, one, either working to get that thing down out of there, depending on if the weather's decent enough to be able to sit outside and be able to come in here over top with the boom truck, lower the rope crane down in there to hook on. If it's bad weather, we'll be working over here on this side up in the cage. Like I showed you, I got some helical bars that I want to replace, since I've already got it all torn apart. So hey, take care. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.